In a studio that's in a basement comes the epic story of how two friends changed the future of the movie podcast game forever. The reviews are in. Boys Life magazine gives the High Sci podcast 4.5 acorns. The Daily Bugle says, these guys are super legit. And Pope Francis declares the podcast as life-affirming. From the kid who tried to get smart with David Spade and got fucking old.
You're still out. You're still bad.
And the guy who can name all four Baldwin brothers.
Alec, William, Daniel, and the baby boy, Stephen.
Live from the studio of his parents' basement. The Have You Seen It podcast.
Welcome back to the Have You Seen It podcast. My name is Mason Knight, and sitting across from me is the one and only Cash Kraus. How you doing, Cash?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing well. We're here today on our TV Tuesday.
Another TV Tuesday.
And why don't you tell the fans what we are reviewing?
Well, it's
for the whole month. Actually,
yeah, exactly. It's kind of complicated, but we were reviewing / recapping the Umbrella Academy season 1 and 2.
Yep.
Season 2 just dropped.
It did.
We were huge fans of the first season.
Watched it immediately, but we did not do a TV Tuesday when it came out. I think we were doing something else at the time, like Dark Crystal or something along those lines.
Might have even been Game of Thrones.
Might have even been Game of Thrones, yeah.
I don't know if it was that long ago that we did it, but yeah, so we loved it. Loved the first season.
Did.
So we went back, rewatched the first season, we recapping that, part 1, part 2. And then we're going to watch season 2 and recap that also.
So our part 1 will be episodes 1 through 5. Part 2 will be 6 through 10. And then we jump into week 3 and week 4, season 2, 1 through 5, 6 through 10 again.
Got it. That's it.
Whole month. Here we are.
The Umbrella Academy, based on the comic book series of the same name, written by My Chemical Romance frontman Gerard Way. Every emo teenager's girl's wet dream was Gerard Way at one point in middle school. Everyone wanted to be with him. He was just so unique, so quiet and mysterious. But he's a great comic book writer.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's fucking talented. If you can,
super talented. And it's cool, too, because it's fun to get out of the Marvel DC and to be able to venture into new, like Dark Horse comics and stuff. So
yeah. And
it's cool that places like Netflix and Hulu are picking up these shows, HBO Max. So it's pretty awesome.
Absolutely. But we got to talk about the cast. The cast is fucking great in this show. And going back and rewatching season 1, I appreciated that much more. I mean, especially with all, the brothers and the sisters. Ellen Page, Tom Hooper, Dan Cassinetti. Tom Hooper from Game of Thrones.
Yep.
who's just in it not very long. But Mary J. Blige, she's so good.
And one of the most, it's so funny, her character.
It's such a perfect cast.
Perfect cast.
Like,
perfect casting. And it's so funny because she says, the way she says shit, it's like her catchphrase in there. She's like, shit. It's so funny.
Hazel and ChaCha, rewatching it, I think they might be my 2 favorite. And number 5. I love number 5.
Yep.
So the actor who played number 5 is
he's
perfect.
Incredible.
But I love his whole
Aiden Gallagher.
His whole arc. Yeah, he's great in it. He's the only one that stays a kid. All right. Well, let's get into it.
Let's jump into this.
Episode 1, we only see each other at weddings and funerals. So, 1989, 43 women, they get the Mary treatment.
They do.
God comes down, blesses them with a baby.
He says not 1, not 2, but 43 women.
43 women. They start the day off not pregnant. By the time you end it, you're having a kid. It's like when you're in gym and or they're telling you about sex ed and like if you touch, you'll get pregnant and die. If you kiss, you'll get pregnant, then die. If you have sex, you'll get pregnant.
Well, and in that opening scene, when the boy was looking and they were like looking over, I think that kid was a little worried. He's like, "Damn, those
I'm
were
never
true."
touching anyone again.
Another girl again.
I'm like, how fucking fertile am I? But yeah, so that's what happens.
Yes, it does.
In one day, 43 women give birth, and this billionaire who his name is Sir Reginald Hargreaves, really weird billionaire. Also, who's he played by? Because he's fucking fantastic, dude. I appreciate his character that much more watching through it the second time as well. Just his disconnect with all the kids, you know.
Yep.
And he's got to be like an alien or something, right?
Very well could be.
He's got to be.
Because he just has no emotion. Colm Farrell.
Yes. He's great. He's fucking great as Reginald, also a.k.a. the Monocle, because they all have little code names. But, yeah, he's great.
And how brutal, too, to not even give your children names, to literally just call them numbers.
I know. Well,
It's brutal.
So Billionaire Reginald, he goes around, he's collecting these secret, or these kids that are just being born from randomness.
Interesting collector.
Exactly. But he only gets 7 of them, right?
Yes, he does.
7 out of 43. That's cool. That's cool. That's left open. That there's
Other ones out there
30, 35, or 34 more kids with weird fucking powers. Yeah. That's something I appreciate too. Is none of the kids, besides Tom Hooper's character, who's just strong, but something else ends up happening to him that makes him better. None of the powers are just stupid powers. Like one kid can't really run fast or something. They're all really unique superpowers.
Yeah, they are.
Like Klaus can see the dead, and
which I love that. I love that element to it.
Oh yeah,
because
he
of that,
has
he's a user.
The worst superpower.
The worst power ever. Yeah.
He's just constantly haunted by ghosts. It's not even useful. In everyday use, it's not useful.
No, of course not. And then they're in the form of when they died, so it's like bloody and gruesome.
So he has
awful.
to be just constantly drunk and on heroin and all this shit.
It's literally Sixth Sense on steroids.
Exactly. So he gets all these kids, and he starts raising them as like a superhero team, pretty much X-Men, but not nearly as fun. No one's having a good time at
no
this
one's
school.
enjoying being a foster kid to this asshole.
No, definitely not. Because he doesn't teach him he doesn't raise him as a father. He makes them all call him father, but there's no love at all.
Well, then he literally builds an android to raise them.
Yeah, an android mom
as well, yeah.
who has a great story arc as well, with especially her between Diego. Mm-hmm. But
with the stuttering and stuff, it was a really nice touch.
Well, and with how
humanized her too.
Yeah, and Diego, he's got a rough arc as well. Yeah, everyone he loves
dies. even the chick, even the cop chick.
Yeah, he's our Batman-esque character, but he's exactly. That's the heartbreaking part is when the dead actor dies. But yeah, he builds an android, and they even have a butler chimpanzee, which is fun.
It is so much
fun if you're a kid.
It's a fun character.
It's Pogo.
It is.
Pogo the chimp.
You're going to be raised by a chimpanzee. It's awesome.
I know. You think it would be. Not the case.
I don't know.
Actually,
the chimp pretty level-headed.
Yeah, but he's not cool, like swinging around and like throwing bananas at you.
Well, he's probably 10 times smarter than you.
Well, he's much more loving, dude. He's the only one that kind of shows. Well, and the mom.
He's more of a father
but the
figure
mom is 100% programmed to be a mom, But things. So we pretty much episode 1 is just catching up to what they're all doing now.
Exactly.
Number 1, he's on the moon. Yeah. Ellen Page's character, and she's what number? I can't remember what number she is. Oh, Ellen Page, she's number 7. Yeah, she doesn't have any superpowers.
No, she does not.
But she's just doing violin shit. She's in an orchestra or some shit. Number Diego's character, which is number 2.
Number 2.
He's just doing vigilante shit. She's on the streets. His power is he can control knives when he throws them.
Which is pretty cool. That's a fun one to have.
It's a great fucking power for sure. Number
3 is the celebrity.
Yep, Allison.
And
she's just a celebrity. Her power is she says, I hear a rumor and it comes true. Yep. But number 4 is Klaus.
Seeing dead people.
He's just getting out of a rehab after 30 days. And as soon as he gets out of rehab, he goes straight to the streets. And I love how the guy in the rehab who gives him his coin, his 30 days, he goes, see you soon, Klaus. Yeah. It's not something you want to hear leaving a rehab.
No, definitely not. Well, number 5 has been missing, which is the boy. He's been missing for 25 years, if I'm not mistaken? He's been missing a very long time. And
he never got a name. Like his original mom never even gave him a name.
No, it was just the boy.
Which is weird. We never see that. Yeah, just the boy. So that's number 5. Well, no, he's not. It shows him in this first episode, doesn't it? Oh, no, I guess he is just gone. He shows up at the very end when he comes back.
And then number 6 was Ben, who passed away tragically.
Yeah,
we do not know how.
We don't know how. And his power is crazy.
Yes, it is. He turns into like this crazy
kind of kraken monster comes out, but he hates using it.
He hates it
because he's got to just tears people
Right,
apart.
it
It's
just
not
kills
as
people.
fun.
No,
It's not as
it's
fun.
not fun. I mean, when you're covered in blood, having to walk out of the bank, fun scene though. Fun scene.
So so that's pretty much how episode 1 is, just catching everyone up and showing that that they end up all finding out that their dad, the billionaire, is dead. So they all have to gather to into the academy.
Yeah. And one other thing that's revealed at the end of episode 1 that's a big thing is Klaus. We find out that Ben is actually a part of the show because Klaus can speak to Ben, but he's the only one who can see him because obviously he talks to dead people.
Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, other than that, I think the only other thing in episode 1 that happened that was significant was Luther and Diego fighting and then knocking Ben's statue.
Well, and 5 comes back through a time portal thing.
Yeah,
That's
the most important thing.
5 comes back through
Yes.
a time portal, but he's not the same age as everyone else.
No, he's not. He's
the same
still the
that
boy.
he disappeared.
Yeah.
So he comes back, and then he goes because he needs to get a cup of coffee, and then there's a big shootout at the donut.
I love that shootout.
It's great.
I thought it was great. I thought it was so
It's a
well
great
shot.
scene,
I thought
yeah.
the choreography looked great.
Oh, yeah, and the song that they're playing when he's brutally, like, because 5, his powers, he can jump through space and time.
Okay, and that's something we have to talk about first and foremost. The score, the soundtrack on this TV show is just
great,
awesome.
yeah.
Every single song, dude, is just so good.
So big shootout because people are looking for 5. No one really knows why. Big shootout of this donut shop that ends up playing a huge role in the entire show. But I love that scene when she thinks it's his dad. And she's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, cute kid," and he's like, "What the fuck is she talking about?" But yeah, so big shootout, and 5 ends up just getting away. But this like SWAT team, we don't really know who they are, but they're all dead. That's episode 1. Episode 2 is Run, Boy, Run, which is we get to Vanya's apartment where 5 arrives because all the family, the kids are close to each other because obviously they had to grow a relationship without having a father figure. But they've all grown separate because they've all eventually end up abandoning their dad.
Because kind of doing their own thing.
Because he
towards
scarred him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was a dick.
Yeah, except for one. But that ends up driving a
one was-
wedge. That ends up driving a wedge through all of them because they all end up having to leave because you have to leave.
Well, and ironically enough, one was obviously the worst treated out of all of them. I
Yeah.
mean, his dad sent him to the moon
Well,
by
he was a
himself,
freak.
isolated.
He was a
Like,
freak. He
it's
had
insane.
to. He
And
was-
one
he was-
still defends his father. It's wild.
But the best part of episode 2 is we get introduced to agents ChaCha and Hazel, who is ChaCha is played by
Mary J. Blige.
Mary J. Blige, and Hazel is played by, I don't know his name, but he's played by Big Ed Kemper, who's from Mindhunters. He's
Cameron Britton.
Cameron Britton, and he's been in a ton of stuff. He's
Yes, he
more and more stuff now every day. I mean, he's getting more and more popular.
Yeah.
But we know him well from Mindhunters because he plays Ed Kemper.
Perfectly.
Fuck, it's scary, man.
it
It's
is.
fucking scary.
He's such a good actor.
He's great. He's great in this too.
Yeah, he
he
is.
kind of steals the show a lot of the time. But yeah, they're agents. They came back to track 5. That's all kind of
And
we
they
know
work
for
for
now.
some organization, but we're not quite sure what
Shady.
that is. Right
yeah,
now.
we don't know. Something weird. But they can come back through time.
They
They're
can.
carrying around a briefcase.
Briefcase.
Yeah. So we learn all that. 5 comes back. He's being vague about everything.
He's
But
saying 8 days until the end of the world.
exactly. But he comes back with this little fake
Eyeball.
eye.
Prosthetic eye.
Prosthetic eye.
Yeah.
And they know that gives them kind of a hint.
Right,
That's their
because
only lead.
the owner of the eye is the destroyer of the world. That's all we know.
Yep.
And so that's why they're trying to figure out who this eye belongs to.
Yes.
You know.
And maybe my favorite arc of the entire show is the arc between 5 and the
Dolores?
between
Oh, the
5 and the
mannequin.
mannequin.
Yeah, Dolores.
Oh yeah,
That's her
Dolores.
name.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so.
It's hilarious.
I for some reason Dolores. I think
You think Westworld.
no.
Oh.
That's true. But I think of the donut lady, the manager.
Yes.
Her name is something like that.
Agnes, I think.
Agnes.
I think
yeah.
so. Yeah.
But yeah, he's so 5. He was transported. We learned he was transported through time
Through a
on
time warp.
accident.
Yeah.
And he went to the future where shit's not looking good.
No, not fun. He's by himself, and all he's got is a mannequin for 25 years.
And
with
everything's
his friend.
destroyed. It's post-apocalyptic. Everyone's dead. Everything's destroyed. But eventually he, it's last man on earth kind of thing.
Yes,
he ends
it
up
is.
making this relationship with this fake mannequin. But the mannequin is out throughout the entire thing. He's dragging this mannequin because he was in the future for almost 50 years.
Yeah.
They talk about
Yeah.
it was a long.
Well, it's funny too because he is so emotionally attached to this mannequin, and not to jump forward to any other episode, but it's just a quick little scene where Luther threatens him and he holds
Yeah.
the mannequin outside the window. Like,
Well, the actor is so good at playing a 50-year-old trapped in a teenager's body. Like, you never ever once think, oh, this is a 13-year-old kid.
No, and
this
to
is
be-
a 59-year-old guy.
And to be able to have the wherewithal as a, whatever, this kid's 14, 15 years old, to be able to play a 50-year-old man, but do it as convincingly as this kid does, and with so much, I don't know any other word, swagger, I guess, is the best way to, like, he's just so confident in this role. Like, this kid.
Well, it really does feel like he's
impresses me.
been on Earth for 50 years.
It does.
Like,
Yeah.
you normally, when you talk to a teenager, they're fucking nervous. They're not, I mean, but this guy feels, and he does it throughout, the dialogue is so good, too. There's a scene where he tells Diego, and he's like, you have no idea how many people I killed. And they're all like, oh, my God, he's been gone a long fucking time. But yeah, because they only think he's been gone 17 years, right? But he's really been in the future for 40-some years. And he's an old man.
Long time.
He was literally an old man by the time they sent him back. So yeah, that's pretty much episode 2. We get another shootout in the department store with Hazel and ChaCha, which is
another fun one too.
Because they put on these cool metal like helmets that are
these weird like masks,
weird
like
animal
a bunny
masks
or whatever.
that look really fucking cool. They're only there to look cool for sure, but yeah, that pretty much is how episode 2 ends. Oh, and also number 1 is investigating. He's the only one that thinks his dad died of mysterious.
Yep.
Why everyone else thinks because they said he had a heart attack.
Yeah. And one other quick thing at the very, very, very end of episode 2, we see that scene where 5 goes into this post-apocalyptic world and he pulls that prosthetic eye from Luther, who is dead. And then he finds out, we find out as an audience that all of his siblings died in 8 days in the future.
Yep. Well, yeah, pretty much everyone died.
Yeah, everyone died.
Everyone died, but including them, but except for 5. And they go to the prosthetic place and they kind of Fight Club it, where they pretend they're beating each other up and pretend the guy did to get more answers. Because Klaus is with them, and Klaus
is crazy.
He's so fucking good, though. The actor is so good. He's my favorite character. He's so much fun.
And I don't know if this show works as well. I mean, the writing and everything is great, but I don't know if it works as well if it's not casted as, as so good as it is.
It's not. You really got to feel I think the entire premise relies on you feeling a connection with all these, with this family,
Yes.
All right, episode 3, Extraordinary. So, Allison, shows Luther a videotape, what looks like Grace, the android mom.
Yes.
She finds the dad dying, and she doesn't do anything. Right. So they're like,
well, and the fact that she might be serving poison tea to her father as well. Because it is an android and it can be hacked.
But immediately, even though I've seen the season, I immediately think he programmed her to do that, to kill him for him. So, but they got to shut her down. But everyone's kind of worried about this because there was the only parental figure that they had was this. But she is acting very strange. Yeah. Like a broken android. Right. To where in the past, she's a legit mom. She's helping them to get their suits ready and their stutter and whatnot. Yeah, and that's something that this show does a good job of too, is constantly showing those flashbacks of her being a really good mom when they were children. Yeah, to where it's not just like you just have to assume that she was a good mom. Where it's showing us, not just telling us. So Diego's got a real problem with it. Yeah, it's the hardest for him, for sure. Because she helped him really get through a lot of bad stuff. So he really took a liking to her. So it's sad. It is. It's a sad moment that they have to shut down this android, but they do it. They do. They got to do it. This is also where Vanya, number 7, we're introduced to this guy named Leonard. And what a twat waffle this guy is. Well, I immediately like him. Immediately. It was all too weird. And again, the actor's great. I love the actor. Oh, he does an awesome job as well too. But yeah, definitely a twat waffle, because I was just like, this guy, there's something shady about him. He's being overly nice to her all the time. But nonetheless, he shows up, they're practicing violin, and then, they're starting to build a relationship with one another. Yeah, well, this guy shows up, and he's like 30, but he wants violin lessons, which is very odd. Very odd immediately. It's a red flag. It is. But Vanya, because, again, all these fucking kids, every single one of the Umbrella Academy kids, they've never had a human interaction with anyone. No. So they've never had a loving relationship with anyone. Right. So everything is very foreign to them. So this guy, Leonard, being nice to Vanya, she's really off-put by it. Well, and not only that, but Vanya has always been the outcast in the group of 7 because she doesn't, quote, have any powers.
And, you know, like how she kind of explains to Leonard, like, you know, imagine having a birthday with 6 people who know that they're way better than you and just being just completely forgotten about your whole life.
Yeah.
So you really do feel for Vanya throughout this whole show. But then you kind of know, too, that this Leonard guy is molding her into what he wants her to be.
Well, we learn right around, I think, episode 4 when he dumps her pills into
that he's a real piece of shit.
That guy might not be the best boyfriend to have. But yeah, so episode 3, it kind of ends with ChaCha and Hazel figuring out that they didn't come back to look for an old man, which they've been looking for, because they think 5, because we end up finding out that Hazel works with the same place that 5 does, Hazel and ChaCha.
And see, this
yeah, they torture that guy thinking it was him, an old man.
They killed him.
Yeah, they did.
They're brutal,
Not
man.
only that, but they electric shock torture for a long time.
Which, that's something that this show does really well, too, because, I mean, naturally, you should just absolutely hate ChaCha and Hazel because they're terrible people. But
they're hilarious.
But they're awesome. Yeah. You'll love them. You know, there's so much likable qualities about these characters.
Yeah, because they're not just one-dimensional bad guys. They both, you could tell. And Hazel, he's got a really good arc to where he's, you know, you could tell he starts feeling remorseful for these thousands of people they murdered.
Just countless people.
Just random people. There's a guy they ran over and back and forth. And
like, oh, yeah, we do remember that guy.
Remember reverse, forward, reverse. So Hazel and ChaCha, they learn that they're not looking for a 6-year-old man, but a 13-year-old kid, because Agnes, the donut shop lady, says she saw him with they all
tattoo.
have umbrella tattoos that their dad forced them to get when they're like 5.
Brutal.
Yeah, that's...
Again, not the best parenting.
Again, it's probably child endangerment.
I would say so. I think that's safe.
Like, you got to take these kids away at some
Where's
point.
CPS in this
You can't be tattooing,
universe?
You can't be branding your kids.
It's insane.
It's abuse.
It's insanity.
But he's a billionaire.
He is. So
I
he
think
gets
these
away
billionaires
with it,
get away with anything. Yeah.
But yeah, Hazel and ChaCha end up showing up to the Hargreaves house, the Umbrella Academy.
Break into the academy.
Yep.
Big shootout.
Yeah, there's a big shootout, a big tacking. And I love this scene because they're unsuccessful with their attack. But I love when ChaCha shows back up, you know, because they were separated. Yeah. She shows back up to the hotel and he goes, oh, well, not everything is for a loss. And they open the trunk.
Yeah,
and
they
it's
got
Klaus, and he's like, wow.
Poor Klaus.
Yeah, Klaus, he's all naked, wrapped up in a towel.
Poor Klaus, man. That guy, he's maybe my favorite character because just how funny he is.
Well, and then they open up scene 4.
But it gets very real, especially when he starts going through the withdrawals and he starts seeing, like early on, he starts seeing like the people in his head and whatnot.
And the flashbacks of when his father locked him up in a cemetery. Exactly, yeah, some really dark moments too. But I love that scene when they open it up in episode 4 and they're choking him as in torture. And he's like, almost there. And she goes, is that a... Oh, my God. And he's like, oh, I was so close.
Well, you can't torture a drug addict. You can't really torture a drug addict.
And someone who can't die either. You know, he can't die, so.
Yeah, so he's been through some shit. I mean, he's been through the worst torture of withdrawals that you'll probably ever have. So episode 4, Man on the Moon, we learn how, because we haven't even talked about it, but Luther, he's pretty big.
He's a big guy.
And we get flashback to where he's normal size, ripped, but his power is strength.
Yes.
But I love this scene, too, where he's the last one left. Oh, go on. Were you going to say something else?
I do like the character Luther real quick, just because, you know, we see the strong man in every single superhero show, but I really like the spin that they put on Luther, where he's kind of the soft-spoken, you know, do-gooder, do what's right. I don't know. I just liked it. I thought it was a different spin.
He's the real Captain America of this group.
Yeah, for sure.
So, anyways, he's the last one left. All the other kids have abandoned the group, the dad, the mom, everyone. They go on to do their own things, but Luther is the only one because, you know, he's just there he wants to impress his dad.
Yep.
But so his dad sends him on a mission by himself, you know, Hargreaves. And this is how shitty the dad is. He doesn't even realize the other kids are gone.
I know.
He's like, you don't got to call me by my number anymore. I'm the only one left. And he goes, oh, whatever. And he just
so he starts writing again in his notebook.
But it is brutal because it's a suicide, man. He can't be going on missions by himself. He does whatever mission he does, he gets badly destroyed. And the only way to save him is to give him ape DNA, I guess.
I guess so.
But it fucks him up.
It does.
What literally looks like is it looks like they grill a body, cut his head off, put that on
his head or put that on his body. Yeah.
But it's good, man. I love the practical effects, and it doesn't look like he's wearing a big, giant fucking fake suit.
No, it doesn't.
It looks like it's his muscle, and it rarely ever shows him with clothes off. But when it does, you can see the muscle like rippling and stuff.
Yes.
When he first wakes up and he's super hairy,
Yep.
his beard and everything. So that's what he's got going. So he probably really fucking hated his dad at that point.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Give me a weird monkey
Rightfully
body.
So.
So ChaCha Hazel, they torture Klaus about information about 5.
do.
It doesn't work.
So many funny scenes throughout that too.
It is, but Klaus, it doesn't work, but Klaus, he finally starts using his power because he's never been this sober since he was 13. they said.
Wild.
So he finally starts using his power.
With the help of Ben too.
Absolutely, Ben plays a huge part.
Yeah, he does.
And he starts seeing the victims of Hazel and ChaCha to try to get them to feel something.
Yep.
And it does. It kind of works.
It does work. It kind of creeps them out at first. They're like, "What the hell is going on here?"
Yeah, because he brings the old Russian lady up. He's like, "Oh man, is she pissed at you?" Yeah. But yeah, it does work. They end up, or Klaus ends up getting away at one point with their time travel briefcase.
Yep.
While this is going on, Diego's kind of got a side plot going with this detective that's been helping him, or they've been helping each other find
they have been.
The shooters of the donut
and they
place.
seem kind of maybe a little bit like lovers who aren't actually lovers. You
well,
know,
the
kind
detective kind of
dynamic.
just thinks that he's just a kind of an insane man.
Yeah.
Just a guy that's kind of crazy. And because, I mean, she arrests him at first.
She does.
But yeah, so they're kind of figuring this whole thing out. But I don't think it's this episode where she goes. Oh, it is this
Yeah, it
episode.
is.
Yep. The detective goes because she can't get a hold of Diego. And she goes in there by herself.
And I love that they always call the boxing place. He's like,
Yeah.
he's not here. It's like the most stereotypical
It's like
boxing
Mickey
coach. It's
from
like
Rocky.
Rocky.
I know.
Yeah.
But ChaCha ends up cold-bloodedly fucking killing the detective. No problem. Because ChaCha does not have a problem. She's not feeling any remorse, but Hazel is.
Yeah.
Hazel's starting to feel some remorse, and that's how he gets away. But Klaus ends up time traveling. That's in episode 4. Episode 5, number 5. Klaus time traveled to fucking Vietnam.
Oh, that's brutal.
This guy, it gets worse and worse for this guy.
I know, as if like his life couldn't get
You're
any
about to be
worse.
seeing a lot more dead bodies in fucking Vietnam. He goes to Vietnam. We don't end up seeing in this episode, but he made a strong relationship with another guy because Klaus is gay.
Yes, he is.
And a tough time to be gay.
1960s? Yeah, you
Vietnam?
would say. Yeah,
Yeah.
Vietnam era. This probably was not an easy time to...
But a good time to be a drug addict because they were doing a lot of fucking smack
Lot of
over there in
speed, too,
Vietnam. Yeah. So he comes back and destroys the case of me, but he's got dog tags. He's got a new tattoo. He's been gone for a year in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And 5 kind of figures this all out, and we end up finding out that 5, when he went forward in time to the apocalypse world, he aged. I mean, he just was there for 50 years, trying to figure out how to get back. Eventually, this lady comes. She says she works for the commission. They're this secret agency that time travels, and they kill people to make sure that the timeline stays right.
Yep.
And they end up killing everyone. JFK, they pretty much...
Which I kind of like
Any
that.
assassination you've seen was been because of the commission.
Because of the
what we're
commission,
supposed to
yep.
get. Yeah. And that's where or Hazel and ChaCha are from.
Yes.
So she offered him that when he was like 60. He
Mm-hmm.
did that. He became the best hitman ever. But eventually, because you have to work 5 years with the commission,
Yep.
after 5 years, you get to go back to any time you want. Retire.
And you get a full pension, too.
Exactly. Which is probably not great because all we hear throughout the commission is them cutting funding for these guys. So it's probably not great.
Well, it's so funny, too. Remember ChaCha and they were talking about their health care and how it sucked.
Oh, yeah. Well, and how they had to share a hotel room.
The hotel, yeah. He's like, I'm tired of these cuts.
Like, they're going back and, like, well, they could have endless money. Why are they cutting funds? Anyways, so she offers him a job. He goes, and the last time we see him is he's right about to kill JFK.
Yep.
But he ends up going back in time, but he ends up fucking it up, and he ends up making him young again. That's how we get the first episode.
Yep.
So now they're all after him because you got to do your contract. You don't do your contract, they got to fucking
Adios.
cut you off. But no one can find him because he can jump through fucking time and whatnot. While this is happening, Vanya, she's working her way up the orchestra. She gets first chair. Oh, my God, how could that happen?
She gets first chair because Leonard went and killed the girl who had the
that will
first
help.
chair. Well, it does help, open seat.
Well, for that, though, you got to kill second chair as well.
You do.
Vanya was back a couple chairs. So this guy's got his hands full with slaughtering people just to make her first chair. And for her to be first chair, they have to be desperate. She was coming to practice late every day. They didn't know any of this shit. So for them to be, they really got to, they really got to be desperate. But Luther and number 5 end up tricking ChaCha and Hazel into exchanging briefcases.
Even though they destroyed the briefcase.
Exactly. Because Klaus took it to go to Vietnam. But as soon as he came back, he fucking
smashed
destroyed
that
thing.
shit. Just blew it up.
So, so they're going to, but it's just a big fake out. They end up, because they don't have it, so they end up throwing it. But the lady who recruited 5,
the handler,
ends up shutting down time, freezing time, and giving 5 another offer. Saying, come back, work again, even though he screwed him over.
I know.
But now you get to work in management. It's an upgrade.
Well, I think the way they think about that, is if you're smart enough to outwit us, then I think you need a management role.
Yeah, that's true. But
one of those things.
Yeah. So, it's not going to happen.
No.
I mean, we know it's not going to happen. We know he's just going to end up tricking him. But that's pretty much how episode 5 ends, is with us last seeing Leonard. We're proof that Leonard killed the number 1 chair, because it goes up to the attic.
Yeah, it does. And she's up there. She's wrapped up in some.
And before that, we saw Leonard dump Vanya's pills, and we end up finding out that Vanya needs those for a reason.
Yeah, there's a reason why she's taking.
There's a reason that her insane dad, who was absolutely nuts, said, "I can't fuck with this chick." No. So keep her fucking medicated constantly. So that's pretty much how it ends. We get hinted at that Vanya is going to play a big role, maybe even be the end of the world kind of thing, because how powerful she is. But who is Leonard? We don't know that.
We don't know.
We just know he's some perv. He's just maybe trying to get it in.
Just a weird guy. Just a weird individual. It does end, that very last scene, Pogo reactivates Grace, the mom, the android mom, and asks her to keep a secret from the kids.
And she's
that's all we know.
And Pogo could have fixed her the entire fucking time.
Well, you got to give us some time. Give us some time to simmer.
Well, Pogo's obviously in on something that we're not in on.
Yeah.
But I mean, they went through the entire sadness of her breaking down when Pogo could have just fixed her right up. Yeah. Pogo, you fucking bastard. Goddamn chimp. You can't trust him. But that is end of part 1. We will get to part 2, episodes 6 through 10, and the finale of the Umbrella Academy season 1.
Yep. Alrighty, well, that is our recap review for the Umbrella Academy Season 1, Part 1, Episodes 1 through 5. If you guys like what you've seen here and you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification as we drop videos on our channel every single day. If you're listening in audio format, you can find our podcast on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and Stitcher. Social media pages, Twitter, Seen It Podcast. Cash is on Twitter, that's just Cash. Instagram, Have You Seen It? Facebook, Have You Seen It Podcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Kraus, and until next time.
Bye.